Welcome guys, welcome back to the channel. We have got a special video for you today. Listen, let me just first say, we tried this live streaming stuff and I'm not going to start acting Malachi, Carlos, the team, Caleb, everyone. I'm not going to start doing that. I've done it. Listen, I'm not going to start acting because listen, it's the first time I've ever done this and it proved very difficult, it proved very challenging. But we're learning each day and we will come back at you with another live. Right guys, today I've got a group of wonderful young people with me, intelligent, witty, smart, and finger on the pulse. And in the climate that we're in today, I think it's really important that we have opportunities, have platforms for young people, people from working class backgrounds, people from black backgrounds, ethnic minority backgrounds, to sit on panels like this, to sit on platforms like this and have a voice, have an opinion and speak on topical issues. So that's what we're going to do here today. Hopefully this will turn into, me and Carlos, I've just introduced you there Carlos, have spoken about this at length, and hopefully this might turn into something that we do on a regular basis because this is an ongoing conversation, yeah? So let me shut up. I'm Darnell, obviously you know me, but I should hand over to these guys and let them introduce yourself, the youth panel. Why don't you tell us who you are, a little bit about yourself, and just say hello to the people.
My name's Friska and I'm a dancer.
Friska, and she's a dancer. Friska, what kind of dancing have you been doing, please? What's your favourite style?
Hip hop.
Hip hop. I've always been known to pop, drop and lock myself. Sorry, what's the joke? So after this we can do a little dance battle, yeah?
Yeah, of course.
Next up.
My name is Jacob and I'm an actor.
Jacob is an actor. Who's your favourite acting tutor?
Hello. Teacher?
Yeah.
Janet. My PCT teacher.
We're going to have to cut that bit out of the show. I'm going to see later, give me the opportunity to sing my praises. And then when he said Janet, I thought he meant Jan, so I was going to let him have it. And you're talking about PGC?
Oh, big up Jan, big up Jan.
Next.
My name is Zeph. I am a commercial model, actor, creative writer, poet.
Show them.
So you come through the credentials. Don't let me read off my credentials. What was the first one? Model?
Yeah.
So you're modelling where? Which part?
Modeling.
I knew that photo that I've seen, you're going to see his photo later with some sort of model shoot. I knew it. It looked like the wind was sweeping, the scarf was going. Yeah, I've seen it, I see it. Hello. Talk to the people. Who are you?
My name is Caleb. Yeah,
So you put your whole full name on there just to say one name?
Oh, my full name? Okay, cool. Caleb Shaquille Shane and Lyra Edward Smith Jones.
It's fine. Okay.
Oh, my name's Ebony Taylor. I am an actress.
I know, you was going to say more, why didn't you say it?
Okay, I'm an actress, dancer, singer, creative writer, and other things.
An activist. Lovely. Hello on the end.
Hello, my name is Carlos Voss. I'm an actor, performer, creative, producer, all sorts. So I'm there, but we'll do it.
You know what I love already, we've only just started, what I love already is the variety of skills that you guys possess. And you guys must, there's one thing that it took me a minute to learn, you must sell yourself. Do you know what I mean? Sing about your achievements from the rooftops. Because really and truly no one else is going to do it, I'm definitely not. Do you know what I mean? No, I am, I'm joking, of course I am. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? But in reality, nobody else is going to do that. So in opportunities like that, take that opportunity to say that you do all them things and you do it well. Thanks for coming, guys. Carlos, I keep referring to Carlos, so I should just say he helped me produce today. Carlos put together he sent out some questions that you guys have sent back answers to. And so just as a little fun game before we get into the nitty gritty, rub off your names, get your whiteboards at the ready, and I'm going to ask you some questions about the panelists. Now this is one team over here. I call this team Stratfordies because all these young people, I say young people, they are still young people, I worked with at Stratfordies. Now Jacob, I did work with Stratfordies as well. I call this team Brett, which doesn't make sense because only Zeph goes to Brett. Friska, you go to Havering, you go to BCA. I know Jacob from Stratford, I know Friska from Barking, I know you from so this is the whole mix-up team. I'm going to call you the mix-up team. This is the mix-up team, this is the Stratfordies team. And so I'm going to ask the questions. The more people on the team to get the question right, we'll get a point, and then we'll say, this is just a little icebreaker to get you guys chilled and loose, yeah? The prize is, if everyone's 18 and over, I'll make you a lovely cocktail after the show.
Wow, let's go.
I've on it now. Brilliant. Right. Middle name is Rachel. And I feel like I need to give you like 10 seconds on the clock. 10 seconds, you can discuss with your teams.
We'll discuss what I can discuss.
I think you can discuss with your teams because you want your team to win. I'm going to give you 10 seconds to discuss. Off you go. 3, 2, 1. Okay, I've got from this team, that's the easy one. And maybe it is because there's only 2 girls, and obviously they've got one of the girls. I've just worked it out basically just then, right there. So, okay, let's see your answers. Team Stratford. Oh, it's you know. Right, maybe we're going to have to stop the conferring. No more conferring going forward. No more conferring. No, sorry. Rule change. Okay, let's have a look over here.
Oh, they guess me as well.
Of course they do. She knows it's not her name. How hilarious. Okay, so a point to each team. Are you keeping score? 1-1. Okay, next question. Someone on this panel has, you cannot discuss anymore, so don't even look at each other for now. Someone on this panel has 2 birthmarks on their thighs that look like eyes. 10 seconds. 5.
They're conferring.
Of course, there's all the questions. That's what
I actually don't remember the answer.
Alright, guys. Wow. It's empty on this channel. Okay, hold there. Okay, let's see your answers, Team Stratford. We've got Jacob. Everyone's got a different answer. Jacob, Zeph, and Carlos. Let's see the team. Jacob, and Jacob. So I'm guessing it's you, Jacob. Jacob has 2 birthmarks that look like eyes on his thighs. If you guys are looking for getting 500 subscribers today, we may see Jacob's birthmarks. 1 point to this team, so it's 2-1 to Team Mix-Up. Who on this panel, whole family, has a P in their name? 10 seconds on the clock. I'll read that again. Who on this panel's whole family has a P in their name? 5 more seconds. Okay, let's go with Team Mix-Up first. Team Mix-Up, let's have a look. We've got Friska. Are you guys, you're not comparing this? There must be instinct. No, yeah, I'm right. Team Stratford. Oh. Of course it's Friska. Why did I not think of that? Okay, point to each team. So that's what, 3-1 to Team Mix-Up. 3-2 to Team Mix-Up. Sorry, I can't be presenting comedian, host extraordinaire, and counting. Yeah? Yeah, that's what I am. Someone on this panel eats cereal with warm milk. How disgusting. My mum used to force us to eat cereal with warm milk. Okay, hold it there. Team Mix-Up. Zeph, I'm going to watch you guys for the next round. No, yeah, I shouldn't accuse you, but I am. This team. Caleb, you should have stopped. He doesn't know. You can't put 2. Someone take your top answer. And Caleb. Was it Zeph?
Yeah.
So this team gets the point. So that's 4-2.
I actually took a while to get that.
Zeph, have you always liked your cereal with warm milk?
You know what? It varies. I eat some cereal with cold milk.
Which one?
Wheatos.
Okay, next question. Someone on this panel almost drowned in the Portugal Sea. I just added like that. In the Portugal Sea 3 years ago. 10 seconds on the clock. Jeez Louise. Someone on this panel almost drowned in the Portugal Sea 3 years ago. Okay, hold it there. Let's see. Team Mix-Up. Ebony, Caleb. Okay. Team Stratford. Ebs. Ebony, did you nearly drown in the Portugal Sea?
Not the driver.
Okay, so these guys get a point. 4-3. They're catching up. Next question. Who on the panel shares trainers with both their younger brothers? Now listen, I've got a real issue with this because I have a Rufus skeptic, right? Who on this panel shares trainers with their younger brother? Okay, and hold it there, stop writing.
Wait. Okay.
Team Stratford, let's have a few answers. Friska, Zeph, and Priska. So Team Stratford think that Priska shares her trainers with her younger brother. Team Mix-Up. Friska.
Of course it's Friska.
Friska, is it you?
Oh yeah.
Do you know? Now I know in my head that it's not 2 boys. I feel a bit different about it. I just feel like boys foot, like I don't know what foot in the boys, just like shoes, you know what I mean? Like a girl's one, it's I feel like a bit different, you know what I mean? Because they've got delicate foot feel. So that's 5-3. Stratford, I don't know if you can hand over.
3, that's horrible.
Someone on this panel, another birthmark question, has a birthmark that looks like a Jamaican flag. Someone has a birthmark that looks like a Jamaican flag. Hold it there. Give you 1 more second there, Team Mix-Up. Caliph has a birthmark you think that looks like a Jamaican flag?
Like I'm Jamaican,
Oh, he's put me. And Carlos and this team, and obviously he said it's him. So Carlos, you have a Jamaican flag birthmark.
All of our family have the Jamaican flag birthmark.
I mean, technically, there's no one on the panel called me.
Oh.
Just want to say.
They've still got more than you, they've got two. 1,000 subscribers today, and we may get to see Carl's birthmark. Okay, there's two more. These ones are statements now. What are we on? What is the score?
It's 5-4.
5-4. So it's all to play for. This statement says, which panellist has been in the West End? Which panellist has been in the West End? What did you say? Oh, stop the questions. Sorry, I've got carried away. I forgot that we were doing a show. Right, team mix-up. Let's go to you. I forgot the quiz statement. Okay, do you think Callum's been in the West End? Why do you think that?
Because I saw his Instagram.
It's in his bio. Okay, these guys, who do you think's been in the West End?
Three of us who have been in the West End.
Yeah, because that's what I was thinking as well. I was like, wait, but you've been as well. So I was like,
Carlos were about to let him have that claim back. He was not. So Jacob, you've been in the West End as well?
Same shit, yeah.
Performed in what?
So her face and sisters and shit.
Wow, and you've been in the West End also?
they've been offered us a job.
In what? But that was Carlos' fact, no?
Yeah.
Who on the panel is half Jamaican? I'm going to leave it there.
What?
No,
I can't say it. Okay, half Jamaican and half Trinidadian. Is that what you said? Trinidadian? Trinidadian. Half Jamaican, half Trinidadian. 10 seconds on the clock. 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold it there. Okay, Team Stratford. You think it's Prisca, you think it's Helen, you think it's yourself.
The Caribbean.
Let's see, team. And these guys.
How can you not know that? How can you not know that?
I remember going to back.
Yeah, Caliph
I was
screams
gonna put Caliph, but I was like,
I think last one.
No, you've lost. You've lost.
Did
So,
it
Team Stratford, please do make some noise. Don't be sore losers for Team Mixer. They didn't give you that much noise. But you know what? Big up. Let's get into the nitty gritty of why we are. Pop your whiteboards onto your chair and let's get down to it. So obviously you know today we've come to talk really. This is not, do you know what I mean, the UN panel, so it should feel a little bit more informal, do you know what I mean? There's no right or wrong answer to any of the questions that I ask. And I'll be honest with you, I've done some prep for this, but I've tried to keep my prep quite open, so it feels like it's a conversation that we're having and not an interview. Yeah? People will have difference of opinion, I imagine, on the panel, and I think as long as we remain respectful and, do you know what I mean, and try and understand at least where the other person might be coming from, then we can do this without getting into a fight. It might be this fight, to be honest. Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, so obviously we have just spent the last, 3.5 months locked in our houses, with nothing but Asda and Tesco open, all TV, all the arts has been shut down, everything shut down one time. Lockdown. What are your lot's thoughts on lockdown? What did you lot do over lockdown? How did you keep occupied? What's going on? Tell me. Let's go to Team Mix Up first. Go on, Prisca.
A lot of people stay in bed and try and learn new skills, like I was cooking more or I was creating choreography, but all in all I just stayed in bed, I can't lie.
No, I'm with you, Prisca. I spent a lot of time, especially in the first half, in bed. And do you know, when you say new skills, I remember when I was spending that first half in bed, scrolling through Facebook or something, and somebody put a status saying, if you're not learning new skills during lockdown.
Yeah.
And I thought, jeez Louise, I'm gonna have to get up out of this bed now because, you know what I mean, I've got no excuse. And so then I did the same shit. I thought, let me just try and do something. Jacob.
I stayed in bed for the first half of, actually that's a lie. For the first 3 days, I was in bed. Then I thought, I can't do this anymore. I was just going out. I didn't really care. I had to get supplies for the household. So I had to go outside. I didn't die. So I thought, okay, I'm gonna do this more.
So you breached the rules from the
I breached the
get-go.
rules from the start.
Yeah.
Because I thought it was fake, because I heard about it personally, we'll probably get into this later, but I heard from before, bless you, I heard from before, that it was happening.
It's been happening for how long?
Yeah, now they're saying steroids apparently can cure COVID-19, like simple steroids in the shop.
That vaccine, man.
Jacob, I want to just hold you there. Jacob's already going into the next.
Sorry.
No, do you know what I mean? Because the conversation does go there, do you know what I mean? But I want to let's just keep the focus on lockdown now and how you guys, and then let's go and talk about COVID-19 because that's a whole other, do you know what I mean? It's a whole other kettle of fish. So, lockdown, Zach, we'll cut that out. Yeah, sorry.
My lockdown's actually been pretty productive. I spent time in bed, but majority of the time I've been learning new skills, taking classes, just kind of staying on top of the whole modelling thing started during lockdown. So I went to a video shoot, got signed pretty much the same day that I went to that test shoot, and then that started happening. I did a couple other shoots, and then me and Carlos actually did a couple workshops over FaceTime with people who wanted to get into acting or just wanted to learn more about the craft. We started off doing it just to keep ourselves in check so we don't lose our acting ability, but then it turned into a bigger thing where I wanted to join. As of late, I started taking a creative writing course from a professional, and I'm getting on to writing a script for an actual film that will come out in a couple of years, so it's been a productive time.
Did you say you slept any of that time?
I didn't sleep sometimes.
Jeez, I don't know when you can't time to sleep. That's good, do you know what I mean? It's good to upskill yourself, do you know what I mean? And push yourself into new territories and explore new things. Big up yourself. Can I just do a big shout out while we're here to Elsha's Delight? Obviously today we're in Elsha's Delight, which is a Caribbean restaurant in Upton Lane. And they've housed us here today. It was very difficult for us to be housed, and the house is here today. So what you hear around us is absolutely the lovely ambience of the Caribbean restaurant. You guys come down and try me, my favourite is jerk chicken. Caliph, lockdown.
I got a job.
You got a job during lockdown?
Before I got laid off.
Oh, before lockdown.
Yeah, I got a job during lockdown, but I got laid off.
Oh, so you got a job and got laid off during lockdown? Wow, this is rare.
Asda's rubbish. Anyway, apart from that, just spending time with family, you know.
Yeah.
I'm getting to know my little brothers, you know. Just getting to get their personality.
Can you come in line with your teammates, please? Because it's just looking weird. Nice. I like what you said about the family thing. You know, obviously I live in London now. My family live in Nottingham. And impulsively I decided on like the day before we officially announced, because everybody knew it was the lockdown, that I was going to go to Nottingham in lockdown. Number one, for home cooked meals from my mother. And it just allowed you more time to, which you don't, sit with your family and talk and chill and maybe play a board game or whatever. And it was nice. At the 1 month mark, I'd had enough. Ebony.
So yeah, I would say I was pretty productive. In the beginning, it was more like uni work as well. I had to look at my uni work. Had to do a lot of that online stuff. I also done a lot with my siblings, so we tried out new things like tie-dye t-shirts and cooking, and baking with them, and all of them with them. And I was also practicing like my church dance skills and like my flagging and stuff like that. Yeah, I think that's my.
I love that. You must teach me some flagging, surely. Are we going to see some flagging later now?
No.
In your performance?
Oh yeah, it is in there.
Yeah, it is in there. Carlos.
For me, the first month, I hated it. Crystal could tell you. I was telling Crystal all sorts of things like. Just hated it. It would be late nights for me and very early mornings. So like, I'd wake up at like 4 in the afternoon, stay up until like 4 o'clock in the morning, and just repeat 4 o'clock in the afternoon, 4 o'clock in the morning. And in that time, I was just gaming, all sorts. Then I was like, cool. This is like reality. This is like adulthood. This is like real life. This is what's gonna happen next. So then I started talking to Zeph. got with Zeph. Zeph and I started working together. Zeph and I and another person started working together. And then we was like, actually, why not? Why don't we just put all our skills that we've learned into teaching, into learning, into other stuff? Then from that was my turning point to become more productive, doing more monologues, doing more acting, and just being more creative, to be honest.
I love that, and I just want to throw out there now, obviously this morning, I don't know if you guys know, me, Carlos and Khaled were running live workshops for young people. What we're aiming to create in light of what's going on in the world is a public service announcement with our group of young people, to put something out there that is from young people, that is powerful and that speaks to issues that are going on now. And what you guys are saying, the kind of work that you guys are doing, I think would complement what we've been doing. So I think that's a conversation, do you know what I mean, outside of this forum that we should take. Nice. So that's what you guys did over lockdown. What things are you guys going to take from lockdown into normal life? Because it's easy when we're in it to do it, do you know what I mean? But then to go back to the normal hustle and bustle of life, and to incorporate some of them things that we've really worked hard to put into our lives during lockdown. What are we taking into the real world?
Can I start with that?
Yes.
I think for me it's more about time management and realising I'm a human being, not a machine. I think this lockdown's kind of taught me I can't do 100 things at once, but I can do 100 things on a long-term period.
I love that.
A good teacher said to me, Simon Stevens, he said,
Simon.
It's not a sprint, it's a marathon. So prepare for the marathon.
You come up with the quotes today, aren't you?
Shout to the Brits. But yeah, no, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. And I think I before would run before I could walk. That's what I say.
Nice, I love that, that's good. So Khaled, what are you taking out of lockdown into normal life?
Don't take life for granted.
Don't take life for granted. Oh, everyone's nodding. I didn't look at this. Everyone's nodding. We were taking life for granted before, Gio.
But the people that you came, in the nicest way possible, before lockdown, I feel like everyone's known someone that's died over this period of this whole lockdown period. Like they were there one day, next day, gone.
And also, like, a whole year has gone basically. Do you know what I mean? Like, let's just cancel out 2020 now because it has gone. Do you know what I mean?
Because everyone was like, 2020 is my year. I'm gonna do this 2020.
It was meant to be the best year of everyone's life. It was all meant to be rich and famous by the end of the year, and it's flopped. Right, team mix-up. What about you guys? What are you taking from lockdown into your normal lives? What's that?
Be disciplined.
How?
Be disciplined. Because realistically, like with the stuff that I've been doing, obviously it's important to have breaks in that, but when you're doing whatever it is you're doing, like with me for writing, for example, because I'm at home all the time, it's very easy for me to just be in my room and then just go to sleep and whatnot and get it done another day because I know I can because we're in this for a couple months. But realistically, you have to think long term because 5 years from now, the version of you that is in that position, you wish that you started the day that you chose to blow it off. So if you really want what you say you want, you have to be able to be disciplined enough to get it done when you say you're going to get it done. And it's a hard process. It doesn't come easily, but it's all about talking yourself into these things and kind of talking things into existence. And also understanding that means you have to take some time sometimes to kind of understand yourself and understand you're not a machine. You can't do it all at once, but lay one brick perfectly at a time and eventually you'll build that wall that you want.
I don't know what's going on today. It's like you guys, do you know what I mean, did some prep work for this and just came with all these absolute inspirational quotes. I love that. The discipline area is what I want to talk about because that is where we do beat ourselves up on a lot, do you know what I mean? And even myself, I wanted to start writing over this period. I thought it was the perfect time to do it. Anybody else, I'm just going to open this question. How do you keep yourself disciplined? How do you keep yourself on task? Do you guys have any
Locking off social media.
Locking off social media, that's a massive distraction. I did, yeah. I think that's a good one.
I think that comes, sorry, man.
I think it's more about doing things that you love. So if it's like the end goal is what you actually want to see happen or whatever, it's like you kind of just discipline yourself because like, okay, I want to get to that end goal, let me just work hard to get there. It's that thing of like
tunnel vision.
It's your thing.
I would say I kind of disagree with the locking off social. I think that counts as discipline. Like, you should be disciplined enough not to touch your phone to know what you're doing. Me as well, I think I don't really, before I never actually got out of my bed, but now it's just about getting out of my bed, actually working, doing stuff. Still don't get dressed the same way, but I'm up, ready, working. Well, I think that's what my discipline is.
I think, going back to social media, I think it's different for different people, isn't it, really? Because I know, I literally, you lot will know, I locked off social media for the whole 3 months. Because it's a distraction, do you know what I mean? I'm on Snapchat every 5 minutes trying to snap the day, do you know what I mean? And actually I need to sit down and try and write a script, do you know what I mean? So for me, to do that with social media was not going to work. And I had to part ways. But for some other people, it's just knowing your own boundaries. But yeah, that was a good one, thank you for that. Jacob, what are you taking out of lockdown?
Because I agree, discipline. Because as I've been going outside already, that's not being disciplined because I didn't listen to the rules. But thinking about it logically, as he said, there were some things, for me personally, there were some things I could do before lockdown because I was practicing, but I can't do now, which I should know better. I used to be able to do accents quite well. Now I can't do an accent to save my life. As I was in like a closed up area, I should have been just doing that constantly. But because I was like, oh, I can go to sleep, I can do it tomorrow. I can play my game now. I can do something I couldn't do because I had to go to college. So I think discipline is a very big thing.
I agree. I'm going to go back to something that Zeph said as well, about us beating up ourselves. Because also on the flip side is, listen, we've just spent, I'm 26, I don't have any issues saying that, I wish I didn't say it, but I said it. I've spent the past 26 years living in this world. I spent the past, since I was 15 working, since I was, 18 living in London, which is a whole different kettle of fish, do you know what I mean? And so actually, if I want 3 months where we've just locked down for the first time to sit down and rest my, do you know what I mean? Then actually you shouldn't beat yourself up if that's what you've done. Know that that's the time that you chose to spend on that, but know that even, regardless whether we're coming out of lockdown or not, after that time, it's when you need to put your first brick down, do you know what I mean?
In terms of what you said though, it's important, like, especially, I'm going to say for you because you just said you're 26, to acknowledge like what you've done and where you are when you're there, because you said you've been living for 26 years, but then again, no.
What, like I've died?
But like, majority of the time, you just kind of exist.
Yeah.
You go through the motions, especially when you work or you're in school, things become routine, so very little time do you actually live and enjoy yourself and do the things that you want to do. So especially on this discipline front, I think the thing about not beating yourself up is literally just understand where you are when you're there, and then just try and get past that. Like, there's no use thinking about things that to come in the future when you haven't even got past where you're currently at. So focus on the present and always be present, and I think things will be easier on that front.
Hallelujah. Friska.
I think I've taken up the skill not to procrastinate a lot. Because we're in lockdown and we're like in the house a lot, there's no reason for me not to do anything. So I can say, oh, I can do it another day, but at the end of the day, what am I doing all day but sleeping? So I have no excuse to do anything, and I think I'm going to take that skill into.
And did you find yourself, literally you would tell yourself that even though you were the one procrastinating, in the other half of your head, it was still you telling yourself, like, no, you're going to have to go up in a minute, you're taking it too far. And I was battling myself the whole time, like, which side of the line do I listen to? Because I just want to lay here and sleep for a minute.
Can I just add to what Friska said? Something Zeph told me, very wise words. What are you going to do today that will make you 2 steps forward tomorrow? So I think
the sound bites on this. Brilliant. What we're going to take from today that is going to enhance or further us tomorrow. I love that. I love that. Okay, so that leads us nicely into coronavirus. Now, a year ago, that word was just a bear. Do you know what I mean? Corona from the bar. Now, it's hot on everybody's lips. And I still don't quite understand what it is. Is it a flu? Is it pneumonia? Am I going to die? I don't know. Do you know what I mean? I can't breathe just talking about it. What are your thoughts around corona? Because next week, we're about to officially end kind of the lockdown. Everything is going to be open. I mean, already, the beaches are full with hooligans. Do you know what I mean? And I'm just like, there's no cure been spoken about. There's nothing been spoken about that is that is meant to make me feel safer than how you made me feel 3 months ago.
Yeah.
So how am I going back into the world with the same risk factor?
Exactly.
I don't get it. So talk to me, guys. Coronavirus. What are your thoughts?
I have two mindsets at the moment. So one, I think it's undercover terror attack.
Undercover terror attack.
Yeah. At first, that's what I thought it was. But now I'm thinking it's a government's plan to make peace in the world. Because before coronavirus happened, there was this big thing with Donald Trump and what's his name?
Kim Jong-un.
Yeah, there was a big thing going over there. There's Trump going over here in England, and that settled down during the coronavirus. But I personally think it's undercover terror attack. Because everyone that died recently is being labelled coronavirus. Like, yeah, they could have died in there. It could have been a sudden death, and they just put in coronavirus. So I think it's undercover terror attack.
It's interesting that you call it a terror attack because when people talk about terrorists in society today, they kind of put that picture on a specific race and community. And although it is what I can see what you're saying, do you know what I mean? Would the world ever label this as a terrorist? Do you know what I mean? Because it's not from that community that they label it as terrorists. It's interesting that you say that. Go on, guys.
I would say I haven't been to the coronavirus as well because, like, obviously there's all these cases and all these and I agree with Khaled with any death they're just labeling it as coronavirus, and I feel like, in my opinion, it's the kind of the governments or the people in higher power they're willing to kind of suppress us or to kind of put us in line. That's what I think personally, but. Because there's so many things going on, like even now with the Black Lives Matter protests, there hasn't been a rise in cases, which is kind of like someone's lying. Sorry, but someone's lying. Like there are people going to the beaches, there are people who were going out during like the beginning of March and they haven't got corona. So someone's lying.
Yeah, something's not right. There's some sort of missing information.
Even that guy who made the rules about social distancing, that was his name.
And he went to see his girlfriend.
Yeah, and he did go to his girlfriend, had his kids in the car and everything. They were going somewhere, they went to go visit a friend and everything. And then Piers Morgan and Good Morning Britain added to him, and he just went mad. Like,
Piers Morgan has got me through this past 3 months because he is real as they come, you know. And do you know what? Shout out to Piers Morgan. I've always appreciated Piers Morgan and his life stories. But on GMTV, Good Morning Britain. Shout out to you, Jacob.
I agree with both statements. It's just mad because again, people going to beaches. There's all the Black Lives Matter protests. They never said, well, I never heard personally them saying, oh, it's gonna rise. They just said, oh, okay, they're going out to protest. And instead of seeing them rise, I've seen them lower. And I haven't. They said as well they're gonna try to find cures. And they had people sign up to take the coronavirus, and still now we don't have a cure. The only thing that they've come up with is apparently steroids and paracetamol can help drop it. Just, I don't know. I have a lot of mindsets for it, which is not enough.
It's confusing, isn't it?
It is.
And it's hard to know what to believe.
I think it's fake.
Yeah, same. I never believed in it from the start.
I would have been dead.
It's 5G.
I'm 5G.
My mum every morning she talks to me about 5G. I wake up and she said, don't know the set of 5G massive outside the house. I'm like, Mum, the Sky Internet.
It's something to do with that. No, yeah, I was saying that I didn't believe it from the start, even though like you saw the cases, you saw things that happened, and I was just thinking it was just so random how things escalated and how it's like all of a sudden there's this virus out here and everyone's dying and red and it's like even the people that I know that are like supposedly vulnerable, none of them caught it, and it was just like
just in case.
I just feel it's the thing where the same amount of people die every single day, but we don't know how many people are dying every single day. It's only because they put in a number and everyone's like, should. But everyone sneezes, everyone coughs, like everyone's moving mad because of all these little symptoms that everyone has.
Exactly.
That's what you're saying about Lagos.
That's ridiculous.
I know man on the bus on my way there because he didn't have a face mask.
Really?
What happened?
A bus driver wouldn't let an old man on the bus because he wasn't wearing a face mask.
really?
Can I just add on to what everyone's saying? I've never believed in coronavirus or equally. However, I feel there's so many things I could go on to. One, the media is not showing us what is happening. They're showing us what they want us to believe is happening. Because if you Google right now the recovery, there's no recovery number. However, it's more than 100 over 100,000 people have recovered, then died. People also need to remember coronavirus is flu, pneumonia, Ebola, common cold, etc., etc., etc. There are no cure for these things, apart from maybe
the way you eat as well.
Stuff like that. So coronavirus isn't what we think it is. COVID-19 now is just an extended cold, and you can't sit there and tell me there's a virus for some, not a virus, right? A cure for something you have no idea about. If you look back in history, the plague was a thing. What else? Swine flu was a thing. Cow foot mouse disease was a thing. But then it's like, I think we live in a place right now where, one, our technology is a lot more advanced than it was 100 years ago, and two, we are smart enough to understand how to tackle things like this. And I think the people who are dying, unfortunately, yes, I'm not denying people have died from it or whatever, but I think people who have died from it are the people who's overstressed, who think, okay, someone sneezed next to me today, now I'm sick. And when you I
mean, I don't know. You're killing myself. I don't know if they had a placebo effect and died. So what I think you're trying to say is that most people that died of coronavirus had symptoms of other illnesses before that, and they didn't just die of simply coronavirus.
And which makes it even more complex. And they're working themselves up thinking, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. And that's obviously affecting whatever their previous issues causing. And it comes back to the thing of black, Asian, I hate the word BAME, someone saying it, black, Asian, minority ethnics, or people of colour, I hate that also, but...
You've said all of them.
No, I'm just saying, just for the sake of layman's term, I just think, yes, that's not a topic, but when it wasn't trending, that black people weren't dying, it became a trend, black people were the first people to die. It just overgot it. Oh,
do you know what it is? Because everyone was saying black people can't get the coronavirus. It was trending. They made it a thing where black people are more getting it more than other races.
And black people are the test monkeys, so to say.
And the reason why they want to make us the test monkey and they want to go to Africa is because of it's because our blood cells are different. But that's a different topic. Our blood cells are different to the Caucasian side. So they want to go to Africa to test on us because they know how strong our blood cells are.
People in Africa go for a lot.
Yeah, you have to read on it.
That is, the key to, and this is what all these conversations that we're having today about, is what you just said, that you have to educate yourself on these things, you know what I mean? You cannot, you can't just listen to the news anymore, unfortunately. You can't just read the paper and pick up and take it for fact, or face value. You have to do a little bit more digging and a little bit more research.
This country is not for us. This country is not for us, and they will put out all sorts of things to instill all these fear mongering stuff that they want to do, and it's like it was a whole division thing as well, because that whole thing of like, okay, you can't go to see your grandma, you can't go to see your cousin, and it's like, why are you trying to separate us all the time? Like, what's going on?
And as soon as we went inside, they started putting up the mask. Not saying there's anything to do with it, but for some reason why, as soon as we got inside, they started doing things outside, but then
it's like, what is outside?
That's what I'm saying.
The dumbest thing was, I remember when we went to Peckham, I went to see X. And then the guy was like, are you in the same household? And we just said yes, and they let us in. Like,
anyone could say
exactly, we could just say, you could be my adopted brother, and we could just go into, I could just say you're my adopted brother and go inside to the shop. Like, it's stupid. Like, I find
it's interesting you say that, so let's talk a little bit about this social distancing then. Because how does that work? You've got to roll out.
You can't social distance in London.
It doesn't work.
It really doesn't.
Because we're lining up to go into Tesco or Sainsbury's. More time when we go inside, we're here queuing up.
I do like it though.
I get what you're saying.
I do like the space,
the peace and the calm. But the practicalities don't work.
Talking about Tesco, the nonsense of how people were acting before coronavirus, that was just stupid.
We live in a world where we will never run out of stuff.
Luckily, my grandma, before lockdown, she was always buying like loads of stuff and just stocking it in the house. Like, so we always had stuff, but the way they were acting before, they were doing the most. They were doing absolutely.
I think with social distancing, go back to that.
Like, how much time do you poo a day? Like, you don't toilet roll.
It's crazy to think that people never thought about pooing and washing your hands.
Exactly.
Until 3 months ago.
My mum was telling me from day to day. Come in the house and these people
still doing this from birth.
Back to social distancing. The way they made it seem is so you can sit with 6 people not in your household, but keep 2 meters distance. So what is the difference between me sitting with 6 people like this, not in my household,
There's
keeping
no.
in a confined space? Why
They don't know the rules and stuff. I don't think.
They're confused.
Yeah.
Because you say all them people are together, like meeting, like all the people from Parliament and all that, they're always together, like they're.
Because 2 2s now, I'm walking with my friends.
Sorry, can I just big up Ebony right now for saying 2 2? Every day, I use that word every day when I'm talking to my friend on the phone, and these like every day are like.
No, but you say 2 2s when you're saying goodbye.
No, I said that means I'm on the way down.
No, but she's saying
no,
2 2s
she's saying
on the other hand.
Hold on a minute, 2 2, wait a minute.
I would say bye and you'd be
Sorry,
like,
I digress.
And I'm like, what?
Ebony
No,
back.
yeah, so TTs now. I was saying that I was with my friends, like in the beginning of lockdown, and all you see is the police officers. They're all in their group, and it's like, so you're telling us to social distance,
But where's your social?
but yet you're all together. It's not adding up. It's not making sense. You're all up each other's bum in the van and all of them. It doesn't make sense. It didn't make sense.
And what they were saying about the police officers, not the police officers, the footballers should be paid less than NHS workers and all that. Like, who said that? What's his name? I don't know these guys' names. I just know the faces. The one that was talking about the social distancing thing. What's his name?
We don't know.
Yeah,
Just carry on.
Yeah.
That guy. Yeah, he said that footballers should give money to the NHS, but footballers are not paid by tax. NHS workers are paid by tax, but people don't know that. That's another thing you should read on about. Because they're saying that we should pay footballers less, but it's not.
I think on the topic of pay as well, it proves that we live in a country that you don't have to work to make money. Because we're experiencing it all right now. We're all on furlough right now. There's enough money for people not to be working in a criminal society and people still get paid. So I'm just saying, yeah, it's true.
It's the system that they've created that we're all now a part of, and it's the key that you said. It's about educating yourself and finding out how we as a community, how we as, black people, people of colour, whatever the label is, the people that are not white, how we have a voice and make change happen within the system to allow the system to work and for us.
Yeah.
Okay, nice. Okay, so we dealt with coronavirus, and as that was kind of coming to a close, the video of George Floyd emerged on the internet, and the world went back up into uproar. Now, obviously, Black Lives Matter, the movement, it's not been a thing of yesterday. This was a movement started, I think, in 2013, in a response to have to voice frustration with police brutality, injustice, inequality that is often, more than often in fact, directed at black people than other races. So the George Floyd video, let's start there.
Can I just start by saying, I personally do not feel that George Floyd should have. I feel like everyone's just, not everyone, most people are using it as a way to say I'm not racist. They're using it as an excuse.
Hold up, wait, you're going too far first.
Okay.
I want to find out something before we go into the conversation. I want to know who has watched it and who hasn't first. Can we just have a raise of who's seen it? Has your hand up there? So Ebony, you haven't seen it.
I've seen a little bit.
I haven't seen it. I'm with Ebony. I haven't watched it, and me and Ebony will share it in a minute while we haven't. Let me hear from you guys. You watched it. What did that evoke in you? What did that say to you? What did that make you feel like? What did that make you want to do?
It kind of the video itself of like the kind of the police officer putting so much force onto I'm not going to say like a human being. It's kind of like their police officer kind of portrayed of they have enough power to do that. No one can stop them from doing that. Like even like I guarantee if someone tried to help him, they would have put a restraint on them as well. Like the police officers kind of come across as they have this supreme power and they can get away with stuff, and it's shown that they can do that. There's been so many cases even before George Floyd where they've used some form of police brutality against like the human race, and it's kind of like they just get away with a lot, to be honest. You can see that, especially when it's small dumb stuff, like when you hear about apparently he did fraud, but then it was like a £20 bill that they
even if you did fraud, it doesn't give you the right to treat someone like as an animal who's just like a lion that's just come out of a cage.
That's annoyed me. That annoyed me because the man he had died, you know what I mean, and this what happened, and then weeks later
They tried to lie about
they
the
want to come out with
autopsy as well.
that, and it's like regardless of whether he was a criminal or what, do you know what I mean?
And then they came out.
None of that is a factor when the man's neck is on his thing and he says he can't breathe, do you know what I mean?
And they tried to lie about the autopsy as well, which kind of was like, there was no way, like,
Do you know what it
it's
is?
just disrespectful.
I think it was a racist attack, obviously, but people don't see it as, people think it's just like, because we saw that video, racism is starting again. It's just being recorded now. Like, it's being recorded now, so there's proof now. So people can't say, oh, this didn't happen, this didn't happen. Like, racism.
Following off the back of that, Calais, that's kind of the reason why I made a choice. And you know, in my head every day I'm thinking, do I go and watch this video or not? Before I came down this morning, before we came to talk about it, I thought it's important for me to watch it, but I thought, no, it's standard with what I've done, actually. And I haven't watched it because of what Calais said, because I live in this world, you know what I mean? I'm 26 and I'm very aware that this is happening, and I didn't need to watch that video to reiterate that to myself, do you know what I mean? I feel like a lot of my career, working with you guys and working at Stratford East, has been about inequality. It's been about, in my own kind of world and in my own kind of field, it's been about representation in the arts. It's been about having faces and voices on stage and screen that are not represented. Do you know what I mean? My whole career has been built, so it's not a fight that's new to me, do you know what I mean? In the way it feels like it's new to the world. And so I didn't feel like I needed to watch the video in order to be a part of the movement, do you know what I mean? Go on, Carlos.
I was just saying,
Evan, let me hear from Zach. What's the make you feel and think when you watch that?
Just made me tired. I'm not gonna lie. I've seen it multiple times in real life and in other videos, but I'm not gonna lie. It made me kind of feel like enough is enough, because everyone can say they feel outraged because of it, but more time if it happens in front of you, are you gonna step in? That's what I'm saying, and it's a risky move because obviously not here so much because they don't really carry guns like that, but they can tase you, they can beat you down, they can do whatever. But I think it came to the point where I was like, I had to make a decision, because if I saw that happening to a random person on the street and I know he didn't do anything, I would step in, because if it was my friend, I'm not watching for anything, I don't care what they do. So it just came down to like, you can't like stand up for something when you feel it's convenient. You have to stand up for what you think is right all the time, regardless of the consequence. And I feel like that's been a big thing for me, is just getting back into kind of, cool, we need to do what's, because even my mum said like, don't go to the protest, don't put yourself at risk, don't. And I was like, cool, but your generation didn't solve this, and you left the burden to me. I'm not going to leave it for my children to have to fix. That's what I'm saying. So if there's a change that I can make, I'm going to make it.
I absolutely agree with him. It is them. Sometimes it's the smaller changes that add up to the bigger change, you know what I mean?
I think to add to that as well, it's like, for them, I'm not saying, when I say them, I say the officers in there, it was just another one. Not just another one. It was just another one of those people, and it's fine, it means nothing. And then if it wasn't uproar, this officer would still be walking the street the same way. So I think
that's where the issue lies.
Yeah, that's the problem. I think the system needs to realise, wait, gee, you've got a record of killing multiple black people. Regardless if it's just this officer. As a black man myself, I can't go to America thinking, cool, am I going to come back home alive? Am I going to what? What's the situation? So it's just we're just a statistic, we're just another person, another one.
Let's just turn the conversation to the police force for a minute.
That's what I was going to say, not all police officers.
Yeah, we had a great workshop this morning where one of the young people said that, do you know what I mean, that everyone's kind of tarnishing, which was what happens with racism, it's what happens with sexism. You tarnish a group of people, and now that whole group of people are one certain way. And so now police officers are now having a bad rep. Rightly or wrongly, I mean, I have my opinions. I think the saying is, you know what I mean, that one spoiled apple ruins the bunch, do you know what I mean? And I think doctors, police, any people of authority like that, we can't afford to have bad apples in there, do you know what I mean? People that are meant to be protecting you, people that are meant to be looking after you, we need a better vetting system, because that shouldn't be slipping through the net. Thoughts on all that's going on with the police and how they're being kind of broad brush stroked?
You know what it is? I feel like nobody is born racist, like nobody is born like, you look at it, like when you're growing up and you're going to nursery, like I'm holding hands with a white person. Like nobody's born racist, so we can't like just say because this police officer works for what's it called, higher ability, is that what you call it?
Authority,
Yeah, higher, doesn't make them racist because like, even when you look at the protests and that, the amount of white people that come out to support us as well, like you can't just look at one race and think, because then we're looking like hypocrites though. We're looking at hypocrites because if we're saying that the Caucasian lot are, okay, that sounds really bad. The Caucasian people are
all racist.
Then we're saying, they're saying we're all criminals as well because,
I agree, but I think what I'm gonna say is the flip tail of. I think in my song I say who are meant to call when the murderers are the police, and it's like I don't mean every single officer is like that, but who do you know who you can trust and who do you?
I feel like with the police, it's less of a conversation of like if you're white or black. Do you see what I'm saying? Because they go by blue, so their own sort of race. But then you have to understand that we're fighting a different system. There are multiple systems in this country, loads of which don't belong to us. But I grew up as a kid saying, "Oh, mummy, I want to be a police officer. I want to be a police officer." And then it's like you become exposed to the like how corrupt the world is, and then it's just like, cool, your system don't mess with us. Your system don't like our people. So it goes from I want to be a police officer to beep, defense. So I'm saying that's not a colour thing because there are plenty of black officers who I know who get down black kids for no reason whatsoever. So I think it's just about like the system and like how corrupt they are, and it's not a thing of like you need the white people in the system to change. It's just like you need the system to change in general. When you're talking about justice, it's not like you got to make sure that this person now, like if that person's already dead, it's not cool, get their killers. It's make sure there are no killers in the first place. Make sure you have actual people who we as a society can count on, because there's different. Like I kind of agree with the whole statement of. Like government officials and whatnot, not all of them, but majority of them being terrorists in suits, because they create a law, apply a law, and then enforce a law, and then they push that narrative on us. Obviously, that narrative gets tarnished through like media and whatnot, and that's kind of the outlets that we listen to. But at the end of the day, if we can't rely on you as a system, I don't know how you expect our trust.
I think there's always two things that when we talk about racism, I think almost sometimes it might be a little bit bigger than racism is the classism. Do you know what I mean? Where the difference between hierarchy, we've got this middle class world that kind of sees themselves up here in comparison to the working class world, and that can't work. Go on, this side. Ebony, tell us, we haven't got to you about and why you didn't watch the video.
Oh yeah, I didn't watch the video because again it's just the same old. Like I haven't seen anyone die personally myself, but I've seen it so much on social media. It's just like it gets tiring and it just makes me angry for no reason. Like not no reason, but it just gets me angry and it's like I can't do nothing about it because it's happened now. And so like seeing that video, I don't think I could have. Like I watched a bit of it and I was like, I don't think I can watch the rest because I know how it ends. A lot of people have told me the story already. It's just like I don't want to put myself in that mindset again. But it's just frustrating. It's like again another person. It's just like really.
That's what I was saying.
Just the suffering. It's just like why again? Like literally, it's just like oh here we go, another one. And it's not. It's just not nice to watch your black people die. It's not a nice thing.
Okay, so the video comes out, our community responds, and the Black Lives Matter movement takes full force. Well, in comparison to what was just in lockdown, it felt like it was a surge in what does that mean?
The reason why it was 7 days ago.
My next question is, what does that mean? The Black Lives Matter, because that statement has caused a whole other argument. You know what I mean, with the rest of the world with the All Lives Matter counter. So what does the statement Black Lives Matter mean?
I feel like Black Lives Matter we're not saying other lives don't matter because it's quite obvious that white lives matter. White lives matter because they're not out here getting killed, they're not out here being targeted, and they're not out here having to act a certain way when they see a police officer. That's not what we're trying to say. We're trying to make notice that Black lives matter because we're being targeted. The fact that they come with the all lives matter, it's kind of rude because it's like, oh, we know your life matters because you're not in danger. Like, we're in danger. We're asking you to help. We're asking you to like kind of promote, like to keep us safe. But they're so ignorant to say all lives matter. It actually like irritates me so much. I just can't bear it.
I'm with you. It feels like black people are like the sacrificial lamb to inequality, to injustice, to all of it. It feels like we get hanged out to dry, and whenever that happens, as a community, we always, and sometimes it fizzles out, unfortunately, but we always try and come at it in a community-orientated way.
Yeah.
And for us to stand up and go against the grain, not only for ourselves, because what we're fighting for is equality, what we're fighting for is justice for people that are not the middle class norm.
Yeah.
And for people to then go against that, I just think is really disheartening. Go on, Carla.
What I was going to add to that is John Bioga said, black men need to start protecting our black women.
Yeah.
And for me, what I think that means
Have you got
is...
somebody else? That's example. He's not my love.
But most people, I think, regardless of who I've said, but I think it all starts at home. Us black people need to stand together first.
We need to unite
have a solid
together,
ground
yeah.
and realise, you're black, I'm black, we're family.
Stand up together, yeah.
Not go protest.
Especially because this is not our country. We have to stand together because this is not our home.
On that note, I see loads of brothers like saying Black Lives Matter and all that, but you're not saying Black Lives Matter when you're there creating postcode wars and stabbing other guys. Like, that's your brother at the end of the day. Like, you're all one. Like, me, everyone sitting here right now, we're all one. Like, we've all come from something and somewhere. Like, our ancestors come so far for us to be killing each other. Like, it doesn't make
If we all
sense.
stood together, we'd be unstoppable.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Not powerful as in take over the power.
There you go. It's difficult as a community to stand together and fight something when as a community we don't stand with each other, do you know what I mean? And so it's the key.
But the thing is we've literally given the government, the system, we've given them the leeway to get away with things because we haven't united. They're able to say anything and will turn against each other. They're able to do anything and will turn against each other. And this is where we go wrong. Because there's so many gaps and weaves and little things that they can just get into, and it's like, we can mess them up. We can do anything to
It's when they say it's your people who are killing. Excuse me, my people, my people. It's black. Say the B word. Say it's black people. Why are you scared to say black people? And then black people can realise and be like, my friend, I'm not gonna lie, what you're doing is wrong. We can start correcting each other and start saying boom, boom, boom. When they say it's your people, what do you mean my people? Like, sorry, that's not.
Okay, so this is where we are, guys. 2020, and this is where we are. And it's, for me, it's, again, disheartening that this is where we are. It's frustrating because the conversations to me are really, it gets me angry because I feel like my intelligence is much more than this, do you know what I mean? I feel like we're talking about being kind to each other, we're talking about looking respectfully at each other, we're talking about, do you know what I mean? Things that my mum taught me at 5 when I was going to primary school to be around other children. So, it's July the 4th next week and we're going back into the world. What changes do we want to make? What are we asking the community to do? How are we going to get to the goal that we're trying to achieve of equality and justice and all that? Speak to the people. How are we going to do that? Let's go down the line. Let's go, Priska.
I don't even know.
What do you want the future world to look like? Because it can't look like this.
No, 100% it can't. I just feel like it's so hard because I want us all to be equal, but that is going to be so hard. That is very, very hard because some people are still stuck in their ways. Some people are taught from young, so it kind of just keeps going and keeps going. So they teach their children, and their children teach their children. It just keeps going, to be honest. But I don't know what to say. I just want equality, but that's going to be very, very hard to even achieve in the end of the day. Yeah.
Jacob.
Same with this, I want equality, but if I'm being 100% with the people watching and with you, I don't see it. It might, at least when I'm living my life, I don't see it. If it didn't happen, not even to be rude, but you're older than me, in your time,
I've got years left to live in a millionaire.
but like, you're older than me, so
He just called me out one time on the
He
show.
said olden days too.
if it didn't happen in my mum's time, if it didn't happen in my grandmother's time that's passed, I don't see it happening in my time. I don't know how my time, especially when I'm seeing it getting worse, in fact, at points. So, again, I want to put it in, but I don't see it, so I'm not going to speak on it. I don't see it.
I can see your head.
I feel differently
Yeah,
because
I agree.
it's just I don't get how you could like. There's no point in being frustrated in a change that you don't believe in seeing. You see what I'm saying? And I agree with the whole not knowing how to tackle it because there's different ways people riot, people protest, and whatever. But I think for individuals, it starts off with education.
Yeah.
You have to know a lot about, first of all, the country you live in and how it operates and how it deals with ethnic minorities so that you can function properly and effectively in this climate. And then once you know enough about that, go learn about other climates. Don't only know about like the two biggest states in the country, which are namely the US and the United Kingdom. Know about how black people operate in Asian communities or in other African communities or in like Greek communities, stuff like that. And I think once you're educated, it's then your responsibility to teach. I feel like a lot of people have become selfish these days in the sense of like, they'll make it in a sense, or they'll have a certain knowledge that allows them to be successful in the field, and then they'll keep it to themselves because, you know, as a kid they never had a certain thing. But I think as a person, especially if you want change, it's your responsibility to spread and share that knowledge so that other people growing up after you can then see that, look at you as an example, and then be like, cool, this is where I need to go to accomplish this sort of thing, and these are the sorts of conversations I need to have. And I think we also need to get onto the government a bit more. We need a lot more Piers Morgans, because I feel like the reason they get away with so much is they literally push a narrative, let the socials handle it, and then we all go on Instagram and believe what Instagram tells us without knowing the facts or the actual laws behind the movements that they're pushing. So I think once you get to the government and you're kind of like, cool, I'm not taking my foot off the gas, you're going to give me an answer. It's a risky thing, but at the end of the day, you have to be prepared to take that risk. Like I said, like I had this conversation with my mum. If you couldn't fix it, that's fine. I'm going to fix it. I don't care where I fix it, I'm going to fix it. So it's not this thing of like I don't see it happening, I have to see it happening because it's a change that I want, not only for my children, but for myself and the people who are around me who I know go through it on a day-to-day. Obviously my climate's changed a little bit since I left secondary school, so I don't go through it as often as I used to, but I know people who are still like living in it day-to-day, and I want better for those people. And if they can't speak or they feel like they don't have the knowledge to, I'm going to gain the knowledge so that I can speak for them. You see what I'm saying? It's all about taking accountability. I'm not going to wait for somebody else to fix a problem that I'm suffering with.
Amen. Sharks.
I mean, basically what Zeph said, like everything, you just like educate yourself, because if we let the media teach us, we're just going to be brainwashed and we're just going to keep repeating a cycle. Another thing is that we're basically, this is history right now, this is history. Coronavirus, that's history. This whole Black Lives Matter movement, this is history. So we need to be able to change like history for the next 10 years, that we shouldn't be hearing this again. Our kids shouldn't be going through the same thing that we've been going through or our grandparents have been going through, because it's like 4 generations down and it's still going on. Like, slavery is not a thing. Well, it's a thing still, but it's not a massive thing. But racism is still a big thing. So
yeah. I think it's definitely like you need to do your own research. You need to know who you are and where you come from as well, because you can't just be going out here speaking to people and you don't know nothing about your roots, nothing about your history, and all of them things there. And there was one thing, like, just be the change that you want to see. So even though you can't change the whole world, like, let's be real, but it's just about doing things that inspire someone else to do the same thing, and it's just like it ends up becoming like a chain. And then slowly but surely something should happen. And also we need more black people in certain like titles and certain professional
and stuff.
places where they can actually change something. Like us being here, it ain't gonna change much as we want to. Like rather than someone that's like a politician or someone that's in the government or da-da-da-da-da. So we need more people in them type of systems as well, so they can have their voice and just have their way type of thing.
I agree. I think what we need to understand as well, yes, race is a colour thing, but we are a human race. Race comes after the word human. And so together we can come, push forward, make things happen. And like Emily was saying, if all honesty, if this was a panel full of Caucasian people, you'd get very different answers to how our personal experiences are being black people. So I feel having more black people stand up and have these conversations, having all sorts of generations stand up and say, this is our struggles, please help us change it.
Yeah.
And then have just, it's like you said, everyone's holding someone's hand, and eventually we're a human race again. That's what I'm saying.
You guys have said some really beautiful things today, and we're in a very strange time at the moment, and changes that we want to see, there's loads, do you know what I mean? There's loads of changes that can be made, small, big, do you know what I mean, medium. I think speaking up, something that Zeph said earlier today about in your individual lives, seeing any sort of racism or injustice, or seeing that, making sure that we're not turning a blind eye to it, do you know what I mean? At the moment we've got the power, do you know what I mean, and we need to remain in that power, and we need to speak up and say, actually, right is right and wrong is wrong, and that is not acceptable, my lovely, do you know what I mean? At any time. We need to, the same way we're going to protest and showing out in these thousands, we need to be at the polling station when it's election time, in these thousands, voting for the right person to be representing us, do you know what I mean? Whether that's in our local constituencies, do you know what I mean? Or whether that is who is the Prime Minister. We need to know who these people are, and we need to be voting for the right people, because at the moment, we're complaining that Trump and Johnson are in power, but Johnson and Trump's people went to go vote for them, and we sat at home saying that they're going to do nothing for us. Of course they're going to do nothing for us, because we're not getting up and we're not making our voice count. So the only way we're going to do that is by showing up to these places, by getting to know your local MPs and saying, actually, it starts in school. Why on earth is my 5-year-old learning about Henry VIII but ain't learning about Malcolm X? Do you know what I mean? It doesn't make no sense. You can't eradicate that history. But parents, you can't rely on the government, because they're not going to do it. Like these guys have said, these people aren't for us, do you know what I mean? So parents, you need to, on a Saturday or on a Sunday, when you've got the children at home, instead of putting them on the tablet for 5 minutes on Peppa Pig, you need to spend an hour or so, do you know what I mean, doing some history and teaching them where they came from, where they can go, because the reason why people are going out to sell drugs or to do X, Y and Z is because that's all they're seeing, do you know what I mean? If we ain't showing them that black people can achieve and that black people can do things successfully, do you know what I mean? Just as successfully, if not more successfully than the white man, then we're never going to move forward. So I think you guys have offered up some really great examples and great advice to young people, to people from our community, to people from working class backgrounds, and I think it's up to all of us now to act upon them. I think these conversations that we guys are having here today should be more of a regular thing, and I'm going to try and make it a regular thing, just so that when things like election things come up, we're not slipping off the radar, do you know what I mean? We're not going backwards, and we're staying on top of this, because if we lose this momentum now, then Jacob's right. In my lifetime, in your lifetime, this ain't going to change. Right now, they're listening, do you know what I mean? They don't want to listen, but right now they have no choice but to listen. And while we've got their attention, we need to make it count.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for being with me today. Yeah, give yourself a round of applause. Thank you guys, whoever's watching. Please listen, we are doing the most on my YouTube channel recently, and we're doing that because we've got a platform and we want to get our voices out there, do you know what I mean? In comedic ways, some of the videos are, but for this video, do you know what I mean? In a more articulate way. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Please share this with the world, literally. It's not even about sharing it with just your friends and family now. The world needs to see this, the world needs to hear what these people have to say, and the world needs to take action upon it. Peace.